As a well-versed reader of the backs of cereal boxes, I can tell you the ones that are the most gripping. When a cereal box has two very similar drawings and challenges us all to find the differences, then you've officially launched a challenge that cannot be ignored. With my eagle eyes, no detail goes unnoticed. I see you, man shirt with 3 stripes instead of 4. This type of observational challenge has roots in Dutch Baroque still life paintings, and no artist painted them better than Rachel Ruysch. An impeccable example of Ruysch's work is housed in the world's only museum dedicated solely to the work of female artists, the National Museum of Women in the Arts. This painting is pretty, upon first glance. A flower arrangement of blooms that soar, droop, turn, and spin around itself. The artist's mastery of oil paints enables the flowers to carry the complex colors and details of the natural world. Deep, vibrant corals, softest pinks, and gem-like blues, all open into fragile petal configurations. This is a flower arrangement set on a countertop, but really, here we have a flower arrangement set on stage. Just as we saw last week in Ribera's scene of St. Bartholomew, we see flowers that have artistic elements enhance its dramatic impact. The simplified background with foreshortening in the foreground brings the flowers close to us. The spotlight tenebrism gives harsh light and shadowy contrasts. And there's a sense of churning motion, even if it is just flowers. But what if we could question that idea that these flowers are just flowers? In the northern European region through the 15th and 16th centuries, religious and secular scholars felt deeply that to truly know and understand God, you must understand his earthly creations for oneself, in all of their minute particulars. This deep commitment to understanding fueled the Protestant Reformation, to be sure. But it would also motivate painters such as Rachel Ruysch to recreate the natural world as a type of religious and academic tribute. So, to Rachel Ruysch, painting flowers wasn't just painting flowers. It was a way to come closer to God through the exacting study of God's creations. Ruysch features the flowers as our contemplative focus to ascend to the divine. Ruysch's father, Friedrich Ruysch, was an innovative scientist known to have thousands of botanical specimens preserved by his hand. Friedrich Ruysch dedicated his career to identifying, organizing, and cataloging a myriad of plant species. His botanical catalogs reflect his lifelong quest to understand the natural world. Dare I say that the work of Friedrich and Rachel Ruysch, this effort to observe, understand, and organize what was known about the world, was a prelude to the Enlightenment age, the full flourishing of intellectualism that occurred in the 18th century. And while we often label the Enlightenment as a secularization of a very religious world, Ruysch's paintings can teach us that it was because of faith that motivated both father and daughter to observe more closely with the desire to come to God. In her way, Rachel Ruysch continued her father's quest in her paintings. Her flowers are diverse and visually represent plants from all over the world. Happily for Rachel Ruysch, her dramatic, scientifically savvy, religiously transcendent flower paintings were madly popular where she lived in The Hague in the 17th century. Her countrymen and women were newly minted middle-class Protestants. They loved the detailed style and found that her paintings were something they could hang on the walls of their homes. The limits that prohibited many women from working as artists didn't apply to Ruysch. She did not need to paint human figures that required intensive academic training that was closed to women. And among male artists, the still life was met with a sneer thought to be lowbrow subject matter. So for Ruysch, painting her flower still lifes was faith-affirming and financially rewarding. In her elderly years, one of her paintings would fetch twice what Rembrandt's paintings were worth. Ruysch painted her flowers for 60 years, raising 10 children all the while, and painted until her death at age 89. Ruysch's steady work of creating flower still life paintings teaches us the value of taking the time to look. In her work, the slow viewer is rewarded not only by the vivid colors and intricate botanical details, but also hidden are bugs, butterflies, lizards, and fruits. I believe Ruysch gives us an invitation to go outside and look at the natural world with those same patient eyes, to see the divine in the leaves, the stems, and the blooms all around us.